Hello and welcome to another HP Gaming GameLINK video. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Matt, and today we're going to be looking at a bit of a how to play video for something called Dungeon Mayhem. This is a game based in the universe of Dungeons and Dragons. It's a game for 2 to 4 players, and basically it's an epic dungeon battle where you split your party and you all go head to head. Now it is a 2 to 4 player game, lasts about 10 minutes, but it can also be expanded into a 2 to 6 player game with the expansion, or even if you really wanted to push your luck, you could also make it a 2 to 12 player game as well with the Monster Madness expansion, which we'll be unboxing very shortly. What we'll do first though is explain a little bit how it works so you understand how the mechanics work of the game. Very simple, very straightforward, so let's have a look down at the table and we'll learn how to play. Okay, so today we're going to be going over the rules for the base game. We'll also be talking about some of the rules for the Battle at Baldur's Gate expansion as well, and exploring some of the components for the Monster Mayhem or Monster Madness expansion as well. But as a general rule, very simple setup. So here we go. Each player will choose one of the 4 different factions or characters that are available. They all have their own individual names, they all have their own individual decks of cards, as you can see here, as well as having their own individual health point markers that are indicated by these little tokens. Now if you look carefully at the deck, you'll see that each player has their own life tracker. So you'll take a deck, the life tracker, and place the point token on top of the number 10 space. You have 10 life, this tracks your life. When you're reduced to the broken heart, you're knocked out of the round. The last person alive wins. That's the basic element of the game, or basic gist of the game. Okay, so as you can see here, I've set up for a 2-player game. I've got both health point trackers here with their individual markers, a 3-card hand set up with the deck, and also the player aid set aside, along with these little heart-shaped tokens which we'll use to keep track of damage throughout the course of the game on our items that have or act as shields. Now, youngest player goes first, and on a player's turn there are 3 phases. There is the draw phase, the play phase, and then finally discard phase. And they work like this. So for example, Leah, she is going to have the first turn of the game. You must draw a card first on your turn, and that's pretty much the draw phase taken care of. Again, very simple. The next phase of the turn is the play phase, where you need to play one of the cards to the table and then resolve any actions on those cards. Now, the cards are made up of many different cards that do different things: attack, defend, block, heal, allow you to draw cards, even cards that allow you to play again. And we'll go through all those different actions right now. For example, if you play a card that has this symbol, that will allow you to do 1 point of damage to a player of your choice in the game for as many symbols are on the card. So for example, if I play For Even More Justice, which has two swords or 2 of those symbols on the card, it will allow me to do 2 damage to a player of my choice, and they will obviously then reduce their total by that many. Now, if I was to play this card, that would be the end of my turn. I would discard the card to a discard pile, and then play would proceed around the table. However, if I was to play the Finger Wag of Judgment, which has this symbol, that would allow me to play again for as many lightning bolt symbols as you can see on the card. So in this case, I would allow myself 2 more cards to be played, and could therefore do, 4 times or twice as much damage as I did previously, because I'm playing 4 attack symbols to follow on. Now there is a certain situation with the player games where if I had the Finger Wag of Judgment and would be required to play 2 more cards, but I only had 1 card in hand, I would play the 1 card, and as a bonus for getting rid of all my cards, I would pick up 2 more and play again as normal. Now if I had a card that had this symbol, that would allow me to draw again for the number of card symbols that are on that particular card that I've just played. So for example, if I play High Charisma to the table, which has 2 symbols, I would be allowed to draw 2 more cards. Another symbol you might come across is this one, which is pretty self-explanatory. It allows you to gain health up to the number of symbols that appear on the card. So in this case, if I was to play the Fighting Words, not only would I do 2 more damage to our friend here, but I would also gain 1 myself. bear in mind the maximum you can have is 10, you can't go any higher than that. The other symbol on the card on cards that you might find in the game is this one. And these cards act as permanent shields that are not discarded in the discard phase. They stay in play and protect you from incoming damage. Damage is tracked with, you guessed it, the Broken Heart tokens, and they will stay in play until they've absorbed that many hit points of damage, at which point they are merely discarded to your discard pile. Now it is possible as well, with all the decks and all the characters, they do have hero powers or mighty powers that you can use to obviously cast spells, grab cards from other players' decks and use them against them, things like that. So I'll let you explore those on your own when you get a chance. Once you've finished your turn, you've played all you can play and you've dealt with all the symbols on your cards, you merely discard the cards you've played to your discard pile, and then play proceeds to the next player in turn order. And this goes back and forth, turn after turn after turn, until there is one player left standing with health. It is possible as well during the course of a battle that as a result of multiple cards and effects that everyone who's remaining in the game loses their last hit point at the same time, in which case the game is declared a draw and all the players reset, draw back up and go again. Most battles usually last between 10 to 15 minutes depending on the number of players, so you can get a good couple of rounds in, and it's a great filler game in between something much larger. Now the base game of Dungeon Mayhem does come in with 4 heroes, as you saw me set out before. The little mini expansion here for Battle at Baldur's Gate includes 2 new heroes, one of whom has a very unique ability which allows her to turn into wolf form or bear form, and different symbols on her deck of cards, which is obviously unique, will allow her to either gain health or do additional damage as the game progresses. The other character in that expansion is another hero, Minsk and Boo, and they have all sorts of other weird and wonderful effects as well. But I find that the expansion and the base game decks are all quite evenly balanced, and it doesn't matter who you choose, even though they do play differently, you've got just as much chance of winning no matter what, no matter which hero you decide to go with. So that's the expansions. We're going to move all this aside and have a look at the new expansion that has just been released, Monster Madness, which has something very, very cool within the bigger box. There's a reason the box is so big, and I will show you what that's about very shortly. And here it is. D&D Dungeons & Dragons Dungeon Mayhem Monster Madness, the newest expansion in this line of games. Again, similar design, meant to last about 10 to 15 minutes. 2 to 6 players. I guess if you combine them all, you could have up to 12 players if you really, really wanted to, and have a real battle royale. And for a party game atmosphere, it would be quite possible that you would not even get a chance to get your turn once the play comes around the table with all the damage that's going to be flying around. This game is a little bit different in that instead of playing heroes, you are taking on the roles of monsters, which is very exciting. We are going to open this one up, have a look at the components, and I'll explain a bit more about why the box is so much larger for this expansion. Some of the more astute of you may have already figured out why that is, but we're going to get into the box and have a bit of a squeeze anyway. And again, as always, for those of you who've watched our videos before, the plastic always goes on the floor. That's right. Quite a large box, great artwork, that same sort of cartoony style. Now that's interesting because some people have actually found the artwork on the base game and the expansion to be too cartoony. They didn't really like it. I don't mind it. I think it's a bit of a change from some of the deeper mythos that is present in Dungeons & Dragons core books and things as well. There is a how to play guide here. It looks like it's pretty much the same. I don't imagine there's any massive changes to the rules at this stage. First time you play, time for Mayhem, it's all the same. So there's nothing really changes here. There is some expansion rules for the 5 to 6 players game. So if you are playing with more players, obviously things like regular card damage, you can't target people across the table, you can only attack players to the left and right. Obviously then as the field shrinks, it's a bit more of a free-for-all as well. There is also another aspect of the rule, which is the Vengeful Ghost rule, which is brand new to the game. They can't win, but they can still cause trouble. They can attack one of the players in the game, ghost attack players cannot attack players who only have 1 health point, things like that. So there's a few other tweaks that are brought into this game just to sort of balance things out, I can imagine. Okay, so we have in this set here a few extra bits and pieces. We've got what looks like to be a token box for all the counters and other bits and pieces as well, which I really like. That's going to sit quite nicely in there. Nice and easy to fold, all pretty much pre-cut, ready to go. Really easy to fold together. As you can see, I've done that in all of about 3 or 4 seconds. That's a box for all the tokens and bits and pieces, so I don't lose any, which is really, really handy. Inside the box, we have what looks like some filler, which can probably join the plastic on the floor, to be honest. And then 3 decks. Why is all this in such a big box? Well, it's because they've gotten clever and made all these dividers for all the different characters that are in the game, and therefore a total of 12 decks can fit into the one box, which means you can store everything all together, get rid of all the other stuff, and you've got everything you need for a complete game, a complete battle royale. These decks we're going to go through are fully compatible with the other decks that are in the game as well. So at least that way you can basically pick and choose whoever you like and just have a battle royale at a moment's notice, which is very, very cool. Plastic goes on the floor, and it looks like we've got 2 decks to a pack. Where are we? We've got, let's see, we have what looks like a mimic, who's the chair. Mimi Lachaise is her character, and she is obviously a mimic, and she takes the form of all sorts of stuff as well. For example, she can attack you as a well-fitted hat, which gives you the ability to play again as well. We also have not a mimic. No, really, that's not a mimic. That's a shield that you can use to absorb damage. A non-carnivorous couch, because it's always the good kind of couch to sit on. A delicious pie, which isn't a delicious pie. All of these little character cards and things have eyes and things on them as well. Probably just dirty socks, but you can't be too sure with the mimic. That allows you to draw extra cards when you loot through the pile. A potted plant with the tongue and jaws and teeth. It's actually quite funny the way it's done. Definitely not a trap in the chair. These cards are fantastic. Very, very clever. Very, very clever. And then we've got here, we have Lord Cinderpuff the Dragon. And he has give you an evil sneer, an evilier sneer. There's investment opportunities, wisdom of ages, so basically a wall of money which can act as a shield as well. Mob of lawyers, a kobold maid. So lots of references for any D&D fans in here to really have a go at and really sink their teeth into. No pun intended when I hold up a card that says Tooth and Claw, which does 3 damage. That's pretty nasty. Bull market cards, murders and acquisitions. Each player must attack, heal, or deal a card to themselves. Start with you and go right, and then you repeat all choices to everyone else. So it's like a mighty power for that particular character. Who else have we got here? It looks like we've got a Mind Flayer inside the game. Dr. Tentaculus is his name. Let's get through his deck first. Now, the Mind Flayer has Receptionist cards, an Enthralled Thrall, Just a Nibble, which allows you to heal up as well. Puppet Therapy, Relaxing After Work to draw cards. Diagnosis Evil, he's throwing a couch at somebody. Super Ego Whip, which is attack of 3 damage. Sipping Tea to heal. Dr. Tentaculus is obviously a bit of a therapist as well, has a PhD in psychology, which gives him 2 play again turns. His ability, Mind Blast, attack an opponent once for each card they have in their hand, max of 5 damage per player. Ouch, that is nasty. And then on the other side of that particular pack, we've got Blorp the Gelatinous Cube. Now the Latinus cube obviously eats pretty much everything in sight, a la the blob. Cleric a la slime, attack and heal. Lots of attack damage, lots of cards that allow you to draw more cards, having a sugar rush for example. Healing, then we've got combat cubed, so damage times 3, fair enough, very clever. Slime time to play again. You can use former friends that you've absorbed into yourself as a gelatinous cube as a shield. Meat shield. And then you've got burped up bones. When this card is destroyed, does 2 damage to, I'm assuming that would be to the player who does the damage. And then you've got Here I Come. This turn your attack cards ignore shield cards and does 3 damage. Nasty business. Nasty business. So obviously each character, as I said, has their own powers. And they obviously work in specifically evil and twisted ways. But I do like the fact that everything has been balanced to a point. There's quite a bit of difference between all these different characters, but at the same time their core playstyle is the same. That's why it's so easy to mix and match. I like that. It's really good. Then we've got here the Albear, Hoots Magoots. Hoots Magoots the Albear. Very well done, very well done. We've got Sending the Clowns. Looks like he works for is a showman of some sort. Intermission, drawing cards. Strong as a bear. Wise as an owl, crushing hugs. Very strong owl bears. The Hoots Fan Club allows you to heal, but you can also use the Fan Club as a shield. Cannon Fodder. Major Look. Look out below. Where's your triple damage card? The Grand Finale. Triple damage cards. For my next trick, until next turn your attacks hit all opponents instead of just one, and you get to play again. Ouch. The Albear Boogie. Each player may do a little dance and then draw a card. You get to draw a card for every player around the table who's danced. Why not? It's Dungeon Mayhem after all. That's what it's designed for. Destroy a shield card and then attack for each starting shield on that card. Nasty business. And then we have here what looks like a Beholder, Delia Death Ray. Delia Death Ray, as in dealing death rays. Nice, nice. She's got a laser show. She's got Make It Work cards, Me, Myself, and I, EYE. Very tongue-in-cheek. It's basically, this whole game is designed to be a tongue-in-cheek comic look at the D&D world, which I think is a nice refreshing take on it, because sometimes when you go play Dungeons & Dragons, it does take a while. You have to go to multiple sessions to get through a campaign, and if someone else is dragging, it can make the campaign drag on unnecessarily, frustrates the DM. The DM gets frustrated in return and then wants to punish everybody or punish that player as well. It just can draw out a little bit too much sometimes. So having a quick way to explore the realms of D&D without actually having to roll dice or have to think about characters or writing, describing things, I think it's a nice entry point for those people who aren't part of the D&D universe, but at the same time, those who are long-term players will get a kick out of this as well, because they can have a step back from all of the extra world building that goes on with Dungeons & Dragons. A Beauty Barrage obviously gets you 3 points of damage as well. Raise for Days. A Death Ray. 2 damage to each opponent with no shield cards in play, then destroy all the shield cards in the game, including yours. Ouch. She's nasty. She's also got a Charm Ray. Until your next turn, choose the target of all damage cards that other characters play. Ouch. Really nasty. I like it though. That's good. I'm going to give Delia Death Ray a bit of a go. I like that. That's cool. So as you can see here, we talked about the tokens for the dividers. They're literally just card dividers. There's nothing super special about them. They seem a little flimsy. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reading that incorrectly. That's Blorp's one, the Beholder. I do like that they've mirrored the image. So on the front, it's got obviously the character here, but the reverse is actually the reverse of the image. So it's got front and back, so to speak, which is very cool. That's nice. It sits nicely and snug in there, holding all the cards separate. And then you've got all the tokens as well. So each character has its own divider and then a token. The characters from the previous, or the base game and the expansions, they've got tokens for them as well. So if you've lost the tokens from the other games, obviously they're here, ready to go. And each sheet of dividers has 3 extra heart tokens as well, because obviously the more players you add, the more tokens you're potentially going to need. But that's pretty much all there is in the box. It's very simple. It's literally just a card game. But having the expansions and giving the options to do battle with monsters, you could effectively have a team element. You could develop a team game where you have 3 humans versus 3 monsters, for example. That would be very interesting. I would be interested to see how that would go. We're going to try and record a bit of a playthrough of this one for you as well, so you can see how it works. At least then give you an idea of how quickly you can get through a game. If you want to know more about Dungeons & Dragons Dungeon Mayhem, you can check it out on our website, also on our Facebook page. There's also a bit of a special promotion on at the moment with these particular games, with our quarantine sale. On top of that as well, we're also doing videos all the time. So if you have comments about the rules, comments about this set, please listen in the comments below. If you have any questions, please email us at orders@hpgaming.com.au. And until then, make sure you get out there, make sure you play a lot of games and be safe. And we'll see you back at the table very soon for some more videos and some more gaming. That's it. Bye for now.